Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Pete Vinnie Guitar News.
That's right, guys. So in this series, we take everything current in the guitar, rock, and metal world, and we talk about them with you right here.
That's right, let's go. Alright, so Line 6 officially reveals the DL4 MK2 delay modeler pedal. An iconic delay pedal gets a long-deserved sequel with a whopping 30 delay types.
30 delays, fucking hell. That's
crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this is really exciting actually because it's basically the DL4 is the first kind of super powerful delay machine that it was huge, like in the around 2000 and stuff like that. You know, it's the first like super powerful, loads of delay types. Everyone was using it, you know, and then nothing happened for like 23 years.
Yeah, it's been around for 20 years.
Yeah, so 23 years after. Obviously now, since then we had the timeline come out and loads, and then we had the boom of like the guitar pedal industry, you know, and now there's loads of options, you know, when that was kind of the only option for a little while.
Yeah, that was kind of at the start of the guitar pedal boom, wasn't it?
Exactly,
and after that, everything, you know, endless options for
pedals. Yeah, and then all the kind of shoegazy bands were using that for like cool effects and stuff like that, you know. They paired that with fuzz a lot of the time for like huge sounds. And then there's a Mark II coming out, and it has 30 delay sounds.
Yeah.
You know, so that's pretty exciting. I would be interested to see because now the timeline really is the industry standard, isn't it, for delay sound. Is that going to be able to compete with the timeline?
Yeah, we'll see.
We're going to have to see.
Line 6 is such a special brand as well, because like any guitarist, you have a piece of Line 6 gear at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's the Spider as your first amp, or the Pod,
you know?
Pod. I think we all had that, right?
I was in the studio the other day recording, doing a bit of session work, and they had a Pod in there. And it sounds good. It still sounds good.
It still does. Yeah,
especially for the clean sounds.
Yeah. There's a reason it sold so well. Yeah. You know, everyone has one.
So yeah, that's crazy. Line 6 is coming back into the delay market.
Yep.
And
I like the color of that as well. Nice green.
Yeah. So check this out as well. Line 6 originals such as the Harmony delay, Pitch Echo, Euclidean delay, Glitch delay. They're all going to be there. You know. And now there's a new looper as well for 240 seconds of standard recording time. That's a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Most loopers have like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, 240. That's good.
And you can expand it with an SD card as well. So technically, you can loop a whole session. You know, like like an hour of like you're playing. Can you imagine? That's really cool. You know, loop a whole song and then improvise that whole chord progression. So that's pretty exciting. I remember the one thing that was a bit that people didn't like, and that's one of the main reasons why the timeline kind of replaced the original DL4 is because the DL4 didn't have a straight through signal, you know, so it kind of converted your signal into digital and then made it into analog on the way out. Whereas like the more modern delay pedals, they kind of just put the delay sound on top of your dry signal. That's better for the quality of the integrity of the sound. So I'd be interested to know. It doesn't say here, but I'll be interested to know and to see if they kind of address that problem, you know, and make it like dry signal with the delay sound on top of it, you know, and the dry going straight into the output, you know. All right, very cool.
Yeah, and for all the features that thing has, $420.
Yeah,
not too bad. 240 seconds delay time, 30 plus delay types.
Yeah, it's right up there with the price of the timeline. Yeah, maybe a little cheaper, but you know, well. Let's just see what happens with that, you know. It's going to be exciting.
Alright, so next piece of news here. Electro-Harmonix says export ban on Russian tubes has been lifted, warns of tariffs, higher prices, and shortages. EHX is accepting new orders and hopes to resume shipping in April, but there is a tremendous shortage of tubes, says EHX boss Mike Matthews.
Wow, that is good news.
Wow, that's actually really good news.
Honestly, I lost my sleep over this one day. Yeah. Well, a little bit, you know. I wasn't like lying awake all night, but I remember when Rat and Fluff, all those guys first started doing videos about the shortage of tubes. I was quite worried about it, you know, because like obviously you can watch those videos, you know, Rats and Fluffs especially, but we were saying obviously tubes are kind of naturally going out of fashion anyway, like tube amps. But this problem with Russia now might have drastically sped up the demise.
The demise. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, the demise of the tube amp.
Yeah, so it's just like I don't think I was ready for it personally, you know.
Well, because it came out of nowhere, you know.
Yeah, and then I started checking prices of tubes online, and then all of a sudden, Like a tube that preamp tube used to be like £9-11 in the UK. I saw some of them for sale for 35.
Yeah.
You know, so can you imagine who's gonna pay £200 for a full retube on their amp? You know, it's crazy. You know, so I was really worried about it. I even thought about buying some extra tubes,
hoarding them up,
just
in case they really go extinct. You know,
before it became like £100 for one tube.
Yeah.
But and obviously the most scary thing I think it was when Fender announced that they were cutting half their production of tube amps because they just didn't have enough tubes for all the amps they wanted to produce, you know. So now we hear about this, and it's good news. It's not ideal, you know, because I think it'll still be a shortage of them. So they are going to be more expensive. And what we really don't want to see are tubes becoming more expensive. Okay, it's kind of fair enough, but what we really didn't want to see is the amps becoming more expensive. Because then that would definitely get in the way of someone buying a tube amp instead of just buying a plug-in, you know, or a modular. So this is really good news. Now, hopefully,
it's good news off the back of bad news.
Exactly.
The whole thing with Russia, the main factory was in Russia for those tubes, you know, so it got boycotted and stuff.
So you see, he even said, considering various economic pressures, we must raise our wholesale prices anyway. So yeah, people are going to be paying a premium for that kind of stuff. Which is very sad, you know, because we want people to have access to tube amps, you know, because we still believe it's the best sound. You know.
Well, it's you can't replicate the sound really. You know? It's like.
So, you know, that's good. We just need to wait and see what happens, you know. All right, so that's a bit of a
piece of good news off the back of bad news, but, you know, thought this was positive.
All right, so check this out. The beautiful and uniquely impractical solar sound from Mattoverse is an overdrive pedal powered by the sun. So this solar-powered drive pedal needs natural light to function, but once the sun sets, it offers some anarchic potential for choked and gated gain.
Wow.
Check that out, mate.
That's solar-powered pedal. It just reminds me of those little calculators you'd have in math class, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like,
That's pretty cool.
That's so interesting.
Shall I listen to it? Check it out. Let's have a look. All right.
That's super gated.
Bit choked vibes.
Uniquely impractical.
Let's go to the high gain settings.
Actually, pretty good.
It's quite smooth. Oh wow!
Oh no way!
So it's covering the sun.
So it behaves differently if you. Oh, that's actually really cool.
That's pretty cool, mate. Yeah, I thought it sounds really good, you know. But then. Maybe not in the UK.
If you live in the UK, you get to use it maybe one day out of the year. Or never, you know. So.
Well, the cool thing that it says here as well is that it kind of, as the seasons change, the pedal will behave differently because obviously the lack of sun, so you might get a different sound.
That's actually pretty cool.
So how cool is that?
A bit versatile. A bit impractical, but you know, still creative and cool.
It's nice. If you have the money for it, you know, why not? You know, you do a guitar session, do a recording in summertime. You know, and that's the special sound for that season. And then you play in winter, the pedal sounds different.
Do you have a price on here? How much is it? Yeah, it does. Well, $229.
Yeah. For the technology, you know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty innovative, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the fact that it behaves differently under lower light that's what's cool.
Yeah, and also once the sun starts to kind of disappear, then the pedal should choke a little. You starve the circuit, and then you have those like kind of gated sounds. A bit like the fuzz pedals, you know, when the battery's dying, you get a kind of gated sound. Because the circuit's being starved. So that's pretty cool. It must be a nice experience to play one of those, you know.
Solar sound.
Very cool, interesting.
So next, Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell doesn't pay attention to online detractors. I try to stay away from that stuff. Sounds like a classic troll story about avoiding that. Yeah, so
obviously it looks like he's giving an interview to Blabbermouth. And yeah, so we picked this to talk about because we thought it was quite interesting, you know, in terms of...
and relevant to everyone, really, you know. Yeah,
because obviously now with the online era, you know, so if you think about even these guys, like they came up during the 90s, when internet wasn't a thing. So they were kind of shielded for that kind of, you know, online hate. You wouldn't see anyone, you wouldn't like turn on your computer and see anyone bitching about you or saying shit about you, you know. It wouldn't be a thing. And now even like legends like Jerry Cantrell, you know, like proper established, hugely famous guy, he needs to kind of think about that stuff, you know, like You go on, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram, you can easily get someone talking stuff about you.
It must be so interesting to have grown up and become famous in the era before the internet, and now having access to all people. Because think about it this way: if someone wanted to shit talk you back in the day before the internet, you'd either have to go to a show and physically say it to them, or write a magazine article or something. Right. But now
it's a different level of commitment.
Exactly. You have to really hate someone. But if you think, he's you just.
You wouldn't, and now it's just so is anyone behind the screen can go boom, you know. And obviously, and we know anyone who's ever done anything online, either Instagram or YouTube, or like put some content out. You know that sometimes when you read, especially before you're kind of thick-skinned enough, when you read something that a bit of hate online, it can affect you. You know,
for sure. Yeah.
So, and if because especially for us, this got our attention because for us. We need to be able to separate whoever's talking to us online. You know, are they kind of supportive or being constructive about stuff, or are they just being like
trolling?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's I think that we have to deal with daily, and it's interesting to see that people like that, people like of that kind of size and and fame. They need to consider that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it does take some getting used to, because we get hate sometimes as well,
We get hate.
I'm thinking maybe like people in our generation and younger as well, we maybe even better equipped to deal with it because we're so used to having that access. Whereas these guys, they're not.
I did think of that as well. So like we grew up with social media a lot more than these guys, So we've been been dealing with that since we're teenagers.
We're used to it,
by now, exactly. Sure. But then these guys, like all of a sudden, Jerry Cantrell works on an album, puts some amazing music out, and then next thing you know, people are just kind of trolling. How does that work for him? He might be less equipped than us.
Do you know what I mean?
To deal with it, Well, it's not a competition anyway, but No,
but just an interesting point to raise, and this is relevant to us and to you guys as well. If you do any sort of online stuff, you have to get used to this, and just learn to brush off the hate comments.
Yeah, and the only way to do that is to kind of just do it.
Yeah.
Eventually, you might get a few comments or whatever that might hit you in a bad way, but then eventually, very quickly, I think, ideally, you should be able to understand, okay, this is not what this is about, if you have a fan base that's there to listen to you, you kind of hang on to those guys, to those people.
And also, haters are good. If you have haters, it means you're doing something right.
That's right. Better to be hated than to... no one worrying about what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It means you get no publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Exactly. That's the saying. Yeah.
So there you go. Well, stay strong, Jerry. Okay, so next bit of news comes straight from Gibson. Meet Theodore, the kind of all-new electric guitar from Gibson. So the first release from the Gibson Archive collection. This is a 1957 design put into production, and it's lightweight, has a dual P90 setup, and it's named after the legendary Ted McCarthy.
Well, it's too bad the design didn't do him justice. It's going to be like cats. It looks a bit like a cat.
Oh, if you're a cat lover, this is the guitar for you, Provided you play like that the whole time.
Yeah.
You have to play vertically.
Sideways, it doesn't look anything like a cat. That looks like a cat.
It's like, how is that going to sit on your lap as well? It seems like... There's a lot behind the belly of the guitar.
Even more so than a Les Paul.
More than a Les Paul, yeah. I don't know. It seems like
maybe we need to try it, and it'll be like look better on. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like Gibson is doing they're kind of doing like this relaunch of archive design. I don't know. This one didn't really do it for us. I don't think. Somehow it never made it to market, which seems remarkable in an era when the Explorer, Flying V and the Modern were actually modernizing the instruments. Well, Flying V and the Explorer look really good.
Yeah, those are amazing, yeah.
And I don't know, well, I don't know, maybe who knows, maybe if this was out back in the day, it'd be like proper normal, Maybe. Well, the SG is a bit horny like that as well.
Yeah, that's true. No.
The SG is evil though.
Yeah, that's true. It represents that, it looks like that. Yeah. Although maybe people thought the SG was ugly at first, and then Angus Young picked it up and,
I think the strap wasn't a design it didn't catch straight away. It was only when Hendrix apparently started to play, exactly, and some of those guys, Jeff Beck, that's when it kind of became
that association
more
with
of a thing. So you never know. It's interesting how the human mind simulates
put
that kind
in
of
the
stuff.
hands of, I don't know, Steve Vai. Maybe it would catch on, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, Steve Vai he plays the hard guitar, the alien guitar.
Yeah,
he's the king of weird shapes.
Weird shapes.
So maybe Gibson, you should have paid Vi to promo this guitar from the get-go, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Maybe we would. Anyway.
I bet Paul Gilbert would play that. He's into avant-garde shapes and stuff.
Well, to be fair, Paul Gilbert has that fireman shape, which is basically an inverted Iceman guitar that he just kind of made it upside down. Yeah. So I think he could be a good. He could
be a pioneer for that.
He
also loves cats. If any of you guys follow Paul Gilbert on Instagram, you know it's all cat pics.
Yes,
it's all cat pics.
Forget about Steve Vai. Paul, where are you?
Yeah.
To be fair, he's an Ibanez endorsee. So.
He is. Yeah.
That's a shame.
And he can just tape the Ibanez logo over the top. And
he could be like the right guy for this.
It makes sense, you know. Like a cat, and his Instagram's full of his cat. It's just on his guitars and all that stuff. I love when he posts because I know it's gonna be cat stuff.
Yeah, cat and gear.
And gear, yeah.
That's a good combination. You know. All right.
So we'll see what happens with the design. Let us know in the comments if you guys like it. What do you think?
All right, guys, and this week's song of the week is
"The River Dragon Has Come" by Nevermore.
Oh, I love that low voice. Yeah, so basically this is the tune we've been listening to all week. We are learning the really hard
diminished
harmony section. 16th notes at 140 BPM, 3 techniques combined: sweep, legato, and alternate picking.
Yeah, check that out if you want a challenge.
If you've never heard this tune, check it out.
We'll leave you with that. Go listen to the rest for yourself.
So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Pete and Vinnie Guitar News. If you enjoyed the show, please let us know and we'll keep them coming.
That's right, guys. And as usual, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Really helps us out. And consider subscribing to our channel for more videos just like this one. So until next time, see ya!